Let's get into the niche here. In this list I will show you not the best games ever, but these are the most memorable and favorable games that I ever played.
Hated by many, loved by me. I was one of the first people to get a Virtual Boy. Not even knowing what I was buying, I sent $400 in an envelope to a video game reseller and hoped for the best. A week later I received this huge and over-the-top screaming 90s package with inside this ugly beast. Mind you, Nintendo never ever made flop consoles, so I was super excited. What I got disappointed me in many ways, but excited me in many ways as well. The image you'd see was complete nerve-wracking to the eye, causing headache and mind strains. Nevertheless, Mario Tennis was its launch game and I had fun doing the well-known Nintendo experience. Too bad it didn't last that long, as an hour later my Virtual Boy went dead on burned circuits. Nowadays, I wish I had just asked for a refund. What do you get when you try to cram a full-on super arcade action experience with awesome graphics and sound into a tiny cartridge? Well, this is the best the developers could do on such a thing. Believe me, it isn't that bad, but it's nowhere near the arcade cabinet with its physical Mac-10 Uzis, big screen and loudspeaker sound blowing into your ears. The Game Gear has these tinny mini speakers and a screen of 160 by 144 pixels. And you control the aiming mechanism with the D-pad. So why am I bitching about it when it's on my list? Well, other than those mishaps, it actually was a solid cheap experience of the arcade cabinet. Playing this game on the go was unbelievable for me, and it meant that I didn't have to waste so much actual coins into this rather hardcore difficulty game. Because the arcade cabinet was made to get as much cash from inexperienced players as possible with its cheap enemy pop-ups and freaking deaths. Back when everyone was throwing dimes in machines, arcade cabinets were huge. I mean really huge. Look at this beast! Can you imagine having this in your bedroom? Shit man, you wouldn't even be able to get that door open or closed. How would you fap undisturbed? Anyhow, back in the early 90s when The Simpsons was all up in its prime, this cabinet was, next to the X-Men arcade cabinet, which is to my reference an exact cabinet clone, super heavy and durable. Nowadays a collector's item, people would push out their cigarette on it and put the beers on the gaming board. Such blasphemy. The game itself is a 2D classic beat 'em up comparable to the newer Turtles in Time with a 4-player co-op being encouraged. So sometimes you would be playing together with complete strangers, which was an exciting time, not knowing your gaming partner's skill set. You could compare this to current online co-op gaming, I suppose, only with the real life stench of cigarette smoke, poofy hair, denim jackets and synthesizer music in the background. The memories I have with this LCD game are short and pretty abstract. The main reason for that is that my older brother owned it, and he was pretty greedy on who was going to play on it. It's built like an arcade tabletop machine with its joystick and buttons, and you had to look a bit above the unit to see the screen buried inside. The fondest thing I remember is that I always wanted to beat up Brutus so bad when I was 8 years old, I just went all aggressive on his ass, trying to beat him off the loading docks. It's not even that I wanted to save that ugly hag, I never understood what those guys saw in that bitch. Beating up that asshole was more satisfying in general. Now who doesn't love Metal Slug? It's an all-time favorite for like everyone that even exists. How can you not? Even if you've just jumped into gaming or are a hardcore veteran, Metal Slug is for everyone. Its superb 2D sprites, over-the-top gameplay, and humor is something everyone loves. And it's also no wonder that this beloved franchise has spawned so many sequels and has been ported so much time by SNK to that many systems and even comes in bundles if you've never played it. No wonder though, considering that not many people owned a Neo Geo MVS due to its high price. Not many people owned a Neo Geo Pocket, and especially the Color Edition. It was a super niche machine as you could not get it from regular toy stores. I had to import one from Japan and gave it as a present to my younger brother. Back then I was all into giving him crazy gifts for his birthday, the crazier the better. I also added this game to his collection, and being able to play a 2D fighter on the go with color was amazing. There wasn't much competition in the handheld division until the Game Boy Advance arrived on the scene, so the Neo Geo Pocket Color was a temporary king among all when it came to the color handheld gaming. Being able to bring Akuma, Ryu and Terry Bogard in your back pocket was something you could boast about. Or am I just a nerd for saying that? Back when we had a Atari Lynx, my dad would just buy any random Lynx game that he could find in shady game stores. Shadow of the Beast was one of them. This looks like an Altered Beast clone, and when I was like 10 years old I had no idea what the hell was happening in this game. I think you're supposed to be an alien of some sort, but the developers just drop you in a game with no real explanation. You wander from left to right, right to left. It's a tough game, and the overall thing reminds me nowadays of something like Metroid or Boy and His Blob with minor RPG elements. The roughest part was that you cannot save anything on the Atari Lynx, which was a major flaw, as games like these require you to go on in one playthrough. Since the battery life on the Lynx was disastrous, the only way to properly play this game was to sit next to a power outlet. How's that for being portable, eh? I hated this game. What an opening. Yes, I hated this game. Because when I was a kid, this game had no mercy at all. It was harsh and mean. I can't remember if I ever made it to the end. I like to think I did, but most presumably I didn't. Next to having a game like Flashback in my collection, which was far more easier to cope with, Out of This World was and still is infuriating from the start. The game just drops you in a life-threatening scene. I was merely 12 years old, seeing my character die in just a few seconds. Oh wait, you have to swim up out of the water. Okay, thanks for not explaining anything to me. And that's what this game does, not explain anything at all. You are dropped into sequences that fortunately tie well into each other, but some are time-based with no visual timer. So you think you can relax, but you can't, because it could mean instant death. Nevertheless, this game is, put aside its tough gameplay, a visual treat, and it's no wonder the game has been released on so many consoles. I felt that Headhunter was underrated. A true action-adventure classic that flew by and was bettered by a game like Siphon Filter on the PS1. The game has some flaws when it comes to its control schemes, which is inevitable because of the limited controller of the Dreamcast with only one analog stick. But it makes it up with a lot of other things. For instance, the comedic FMV skits are worth a look, and so is the storyline, which is filled with snarky humor towards the human society. The one thing I remember hating were those motorcycle sequences, which felt clunky and unrealistic. Since I've been driving a real motorcycle for years now, the motorcycle sequences irritate me even more, and as I can remember, the final mission is timed on that motorcycle, which makes it almost as bad as the motorcycle sequence in Terminator 2 on the NES. My god. Do you even know how cool and radical you were if you had an LCD Casio watch in the mid-90s? And you were the most awesome kid in the class if you had this sucker on your wrist? Well, now you do. I think I got the Super Mario 3 LCD watch for my birthday and I wore the shit out of it. This was before the classic Game Boy was announced, so going portable on the fly was super rare. You only had like Tiger Electronic games you could bring around, but those were huge and clunky. So having the Italian plumber right there with you, it was something magical. It was nothing more than a Tiger Electronic game pocket size, but the fact that it was so miniature with Nintendo approved seal of quality was its boosting power. I'd always wear this thing, even at school. And that's where the problems began. Teachers hated it when in dull moments I'd doze off and play some Mario. I got so many warnings that when class began I had to take it off and put it in my drawer until the end of the day. There was also a Zelda one and my best friend had it, so we were kings of the schoolyard. We could have also been the biggest nerds. There are so many other games that didn't make the list but are still one of my favorites, like Double Dragon the arcade game, Ludo, Game & Watch, Donkey Kong, and Dance Central Connect. Did you like this video and want more of these? Check out the other videos on my channel which are all gaming related. Other top 10 lists are upcoming, so hit that red button so you won't miss them.